Hi everybody, I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and try to figure out what's going on. That was some raw footage, which didn't have narration, or basically was written on the can post-Riot, Belfast, Ireland. So we're assuming this was in the 70s during conflicts that were taking place there that were political and religious, etc. So it's St. Patrick's Day. I don't have any films about St. Patrick, but I do have films about Ireland. So we're going to watch this next film, which I don't know if I've shown this or not, but this is there was this series called Headlines of the Century, and this is about the Irish sweepstakes. Enjoy.
Greatest headlines of the century. Dateline The World, October 1947. In a moment, the story. Three times a year, Great Britain is host to a horse race that proves to be of vital interest to the entire world. In America alone, each year some 4 million citizens touch a varicolored piece of paper and wait breathlessly for the outcome. The Irish Hospital Sweepstakes yearly raises millions of dollars for its medical charities by selling lottery tickets on the outcome of races like this Grand National Steeplechase. Riding with the thoroughbreds taking the jumps are the hopes of millions of people. The lucky winners stand to find themselves fabulously wealthy overnight. For every starter in the race, someone holds a lucky ticket drawn from a huge revolving drum. Lotteries are illegal in America, but somehow or other a full quota of sweeps tickets manage to get themselves sold. And here's the classic moment that ticket holders await with breathless excitement. The finish line. Somewhere in the world, a handful of individuals are suddenly deliriously happy.
I thank God for everything He gave me. And I hope He'll give it to me once more.
Two automat waitresses share a ticket that brings them an unbelievable $100,000, while elsewhere, a middle-aged couple are overcome with joy over their winnings.
This sure is the happiest day of my life. I've been taking sweepstake tickets as long as I can remember. And today I've been thrilled through and through. I've been always longed to buy a new home, and I know now that I will be able to.
Well, what about the car?
We'll do that too, honey. And all my relations, I know I'm going to let them have a good time on it too, if I can. I sure am thrilled.
Well, a trip to Florida would be all right.
Oh, we'll take everything in too, you know, hon.
Go ahead, I'm really sorry.
I'm really so thrilled that I can't say any more. I'm so surprised and thrilled.
But not everybody is a winner.
I've been buying sweepstakes tickets for the past 15 years and never won anything. But this year I felt very lucky. So I bought a ticket and waited for my name to be announced, but it never was. So right there I knew I didn't win anything.
The Irish Sweepstakes, rags to riches stories overnight, riding on the flying hooves of straining thoroughbreds.
The couple. Yeah, hon. Yeah, don't worry. I'll do it, hon. Ha 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 ha. So great. All right, so behind me I have a film set up on the scanner. Visit to Ireland. Let's see if it works. Enjoy.
Beautiful Ireland is one country that many of us have heard about. Places such as the valley of Glendalough or beautiful County Clare are familiar names to many American families which had their beginnings in Ireland. And so we in America have always had a fondness for Ireland and its people. Let's meet the people who live in this simple thatched cottage with its clean white walls. This is Eileen and her father and grandmother. They are interested in the letter that the postman has brought, a letter from Eileen's Uncle Tim in America. He's going to visit Ireland, and he's arriving next week by airplane. So, a few days later, Eileen and her father are off in their pony cart to Shannon Airport to meet Uncle Tim. And there's the big Skyliner, arriving only half a day after leaving New York City. Uncle Tim is looking for Eileen, whom he hasn't seen for several years. Suppose we imagine we've come with Uncle Tim on his visit to Ireland. What he sees and learns during his visit, we will see and learn too. As we go along the road, we pass people on bicycles, and in trucks, and in pony carts. And we see Irish men and women busy on the farms, harvesting their grain. At harvest time, the threshing machines do a grand job for all the neighboring farmers together. After the grain is threshed, the straw is often used for thatching the roofs of cottages. In some parts of Ireland, the land contains a kind of turf called peat. In a peat bog, the turf, or peat, is cut with a tool called a slane. The turf is stacked to let the air through so it will dry out as quickly as possible. Peat is something like coal. It is an important fuel in Ireland. Once it is dry, it is carried wherever fuel is needed. Sometimes in the peat bogs, Eileen's father finds beads, amber beads, that legend says have magic powers. Eileen's father often tells her about the other things that the bogs give up, ancient articles that were buried long ago, gold ornaments and other relics of Ireland's history. Speaking of Ireland's history, we can see that too in her famous landmarks. Castles, now mostly in ruins, were both home and fortress for Irish chieftains who led their clansmen in the old days of chivalry. At the same time, there were great abbeys famous for their learning. St. Kevin's monastic settlement at Glendalough, founded in the 6th century, was one of the best known in all Europe. And the Round Tower in Glendalough was a place of refuge for the holy men 1,000 years ago in times of enemy invasion. But of all the Irish ruins, you've probably heard most of old Blarney Castle and the famous Blarney Stone at the top. The stone is supposed to make you an eloquent speaker if you kiss it, as this lad is doing. And if you don't get dizzy seeing everything upside down, you'll come up ready for a lot of smooth talk, or, as we say, a lot of blarney. But old ruins are not all we see in the Irish countryside. The green pastures of the Emerald Isle support many sheep. They supply meat for Irish tables, as well as wool for clothing. First, the wool is carded. Spinning wheels are still used to spin the wool into long strands of yarn. Then the yarn is woven into cloth on a loom. Irish homespun tweeds are famous the world over. Cattle raising is another important industry. The village cattle fairs are held early in the morning. These cattle dealers are striking a bargain by actually striking each other's hands. Buying and selling are carried on in the towns and villages, which in Ireland, as everywhere else, are the shopping and trading centers for the surrounding districts. In the smaller towns, life is quiet and unhurried. But the larger centers of trade in Ireland, such as Dublin, are busy cities similar to our own. O'Connell Bridge, spanning the River Liffey, is a famous Dublin landmark. There is more bicycle traffic than we usually see on American streets, but doesn't this bus and auto traffic remind you of our own towns and cities? And the crowds of downtown workers waiting to board the double-deck buses and hurrying home look quite familiar to us. Department stores, much like those in American cities, offer both Irish-made and imported goods. In the cities, the storefronts often read like a directory of Irish family names. Let's visit a family that lives in one of the big cities. This is the home of the O'Shea family, Eileen's cousins. Let's see how the O'Sheas spend their day. The first thing, of course, is breakfast that Mother prepares. Upstairs, in the bedroom, the girls of the family are getting up. Here's Una, and Noreen, and Peggy O'Shea. A typical day means getting up early and then eating breakfast with the whole family. There's porridge for Brother Terence, and bacon and eggs for all. After breakfast, the children leave for school, and Father is off to work. Boys and girls go to separate school buildings. The Irish National School is the free public school. Going to school in Ireland is pretty much the same as going to school in our country. In this school, the Gaelic, or Irish language, is taught in addition to English and other subjects that we study. After school, the brothers and sisters practice their dancing while Mother plays for them. Terence spends some time on his homework, and finally, later in the evening, the family gathers about the hearth to enjoy the peace and quiet of their home. But family life is not complete without the church. It is in the many churches that the Irish people find expression for their deep faith. The Irish love fun and celebrations, too. At the Irish festival, called Fesh, the old arts of folk dancing and singing are staged. Everyone encourages the boys and girls who compete for prizes. The pipers' bands at the Fesh also compete for prizes, in costumes, marching and playing spirited tunes. Another famous event in Ireland is the International Horse Show at Dublin. The show attracts skilled riders, both grown-ups and children, who put on a thrilling display of fine horsemanship. Ireland's national sport is hurling, a rough and tumble game that is somewhat like field hockey. And now we've seen all the different things that Uncle Tim saw on his visit. And as he returns to Shannon Airport, Tim tells Eileen he will always remember the people and the places he has seen. We, too, will remember the beautiful Irish countryside, with scenes such as this quiet lake of Killarney, this mountain peak clad in a gray mist, and the golden sun caught between the clouds. Many indeed are the things that we have seen and learned on our visit to old Ireland.
Right. Hurling. That's different than shirling and curling. But it's interesting to know that that existed. I just saw it on a Bob's Burgers episode, and I had no idea that it existed. But there it is. Let's see. I've been trying to find some other Ireland-related stuff. I haven't found anything on the shelves yet, but I'll keep looking. In the meantime, here's a film that's a little beat up at the beginning, but it's Defensive Driving Tactics. Enjoy.
While the car was still at home. And the driver was supposed to be first. The accident might have stopped at this point, but it didn't. It continued to develop.
Hey, what's the matter with you?
According to the authorities who've made a searching study of the problem, most accidents begin well in advance of that time and place at which they finally happen.
Why should I put up with that kind of stuff? I'll take off for the South Seas. I'll show her.
Only a few blocks from home, Mac went to the hospital. Accidents can be traced back to the big argument, criticism, even a sleepless night, or failure to keep the car in safe running condition. Then there are the more immediate causes, inattention, which means thinking about anything except the business of driving. And nowadays, driving is so automatic, it's easy to fall into this bad habit. We're apt to see other things and not what's in the road ahead. Finally, there's the last link in the fatal chain. Often something simple, like failure to stop at a stop sign. Violation of right-of-way. Or running a stale yellow light. However, we've said enough about such offensive drivers. This story is for you, whether you're a female or a male. You've got to drive with these characters. They're all over the roads, driving with you and against you. To survive, you've got to defend yourself and your car against these offenders. You've got to practice defensive driving tactics. What is defensive driving? To drive defensively means two things. First, always make allowances for the erratic offenders, never permitting yourself to be trapped by anything they might do. Second, and this is the part that goes against the grain, give way and live, rather than arbitrarily asserting your driving rights at all times. We hate to back down to anybody. But remember, it's not a fair contest. The offensive driver is not calm and alert like you are. Sometimes he's practically driving by instinct. And his instinct is usually to press on at all costs. Defensive driving techniques are basic and simple. The trick is to consciously use such tactics until they become second nature in your everyday driving. two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So the primary idea is to keep as much clear driving space around you as possible. Be a space driver. As you drive along the street, you must constantly adjust your position with relation to the other cars to maintain this driving space. Your eyes, while they keep checking the foreground, must also keep shifting constantly to assess the driving space situation well ahead. Only by allowing yourself ample protective space and planning every second how to keep it can you properly defend yourself. Every commercial airline pilot flies with a flight plan and an alternate plan, just in case. The defensive driver needs such an alternate plan, a continually changing plan. For example, you are in the middle lane of an expressway and want to get off at the next exit. In the right lane and behind you, there's a solid line of cars. Should you take a chance and try to squeeze in? If you can do so smoothly, okay, but not if you must lose your vital space. It would be better to miss your exit and wait for the next, rather than throw traffic off and jeopardize your safety and others. So the cardinal rules are, first, maintain as much clear driving space around you as possible, always checking and planning for space well ahead. Second, relinquish your right-of-way. Be willing to lose minutes or miles to avoid becoming a part of any dangerous situation. Time, along with space, constitutes the essence of defensive driving. You lose a little time and save your life. You may think that the offensive driver gains by pressure driving like this, shooting through every opening, dodging from lane to lane, racing every light. He doesn't. But to find out how much he gains, we conducted a test on the heavily traveled streets of Chicago and adjoining Evanston, Illinois. The test was conducted with the cooperation of the Chicago and Evanston police departments. Representatives of the National Safety Council and the Chicago Citizens Traffic Safety Board supervised the experiment and participated as observers. A route was selected that would offer the maximum amount of medium to heavy surface street traffic. A small portion of expressway and suburban road travel were added to simulate the everyday driving of the motoring populace. Starting point, the Museum of Science and Industry, 25 miles away, Northwestern University's famed Traffic Institute. Our safe driver in the station wagon was asked to observe all vehicle code laws, to at all times drive defensively. The offensive type driver in the sedan was asked to drive as though he were late for an important business appointment and trying to make up that lost time on the road. Both cars pulled away together at 2:43 p.m. An observer rode with each man to keep track of the time and log the violations. The Chicago police along the route had been alerted to the test so that they wouldn't stop the aggressive driver. The Dan Ryan Expressway quickly brought us into downtown Chicago. Traffic is stop and go through the loop area. The two cars are separated only by seconds. At one point, they're at the same traffic light. So much for jackrabbit driving. And then we're on the outer drive and heading north. As was to be expected, the offensive driver first crossed the finish line at Northwestern University. 24.7 miles in 58 minutes. The defensive driver arrived at the Traffic Institute 5 minutes and 20 seconds later. And now the observer's log. Sure, the offensive driver saved time. But was the 5 minutes and 20 seconds saved worth those 138 violations, including 60 dangerous lane changes, 45 instances of following too closely, 23 stretches in which the speed limits had been exceeded, and 10 other miscellaneous violations, any one of which could have gotten him a traffic citation, or what's worse, could have gotten him killed. In the words of Howard Pyle, president of the National Safety Council,
defensive driving can pay dividends. Official road tests like these prove that although jackrabbit driving can save a few seconds now and then, defensive driving can save wear and tear on your nerves, your car, and perhaps someday, even your life.
all in all, the whole story can be reduced to these simple points. The ABCs of defensive driving. A, attitude is all important. Yours and the other drivers. But the offensive driver's attitude is all wrong. So, B, back down if necessary. Give way, even though you have to relinquish your rights for the moment. Because you must have C, space. Clear driving space ahead as long as you are in motion. The ABCs add up to D. The big D for defensive driving.
Yeah, I wish I had a complete copy of that. Maybe one day I'll find it. Because I'm not 100% sure if that's the title or not. It was what's written on the can, but we know how that goes. So there's been requests for horrible leprechaun Irish stereotype footage via Lucky Charms commercials. I don't have any Lucky Charms commercials, and I didn't digitize any Lucky Charms commercials for the Duke Ad Views project. The cereal company that I digitized for was Post for that project, and not General Mills, which is what Lucky Charms is. But you guys want a grotesque, pointless stereotype of leprechauns. This I showed 3 years ago. And I should say, we've been doing this show for 3 years. Oh, my spaghetti's done. So we did this. We kind of started doing this show because of COVID, shutting everything down. I think on the 15th of March, 2020. And we're still going strong. Thanks to all of you for watching. This was a bittersweet thing initially, but it was a really great exercise for me. It made me realize that I love showing these films, and even if I can't get out live and show the films, that we can still do it some way. And I appreciate you guys being there as part of it. Some of you every day, which is phenomenal, or most of you every week. So thank you so much for that. So to reward you for that behavior, I'm going to show this horrible film, The Adventures of Chip and Dip. Enjoy.
Chip, lad, I was wondering, how did our glorious family of potato chips come to be? What, lad? You don't know the tale of the potato chip? Listen, me boy. The potato chip was born in the Adirondack Mountains in 1853 at Moon Lake House beside Lake Saratoga was an Indian colleen by the name of Kate, preparing a mulligan stew. And purely by accident now, herself dropped a piece of potato into some hot fat. She spooned it out and gave it to George Crumb, the innkeeper. "Ah, Kate, 'tis a delight fit for the likes of St. Patrick himself." And over 100 years later, human folk decided that they wanted something for parties and clan get-togethers to go with the new delight. So, the dips were invented. And since that time, chips and dips have become a party institution. And good together they are, too. Now, here are a few delightful recipes we know that you will want to try.
One of the easiest and yet most popular of all the chip and dip recipes is the onion dip. To prepare, we add 1 packet of dehydrated onion soup mix to 1 package of sour cream. We mix this until the onion flavor is evenly blended through the cream. Be sure and refrigerate this or any other dip until you're ready to use it. One thing more, you better make a double recipe. It seems to disappear almost as fast as the potato chips themselves. Here's a dip with plenty of flavor that goes well with any flavored chip. It's called, appropriately, the teaser. Mix a 1/2 cup of finely chopped bologna with 3/4 cup of chopped ripe olives. Add to this 3 tablespoons of chopped sour pickles and 2 tablespoons of chopped pimentos. Now we add just enough mayonnaise to moisten. Mix this well and add a few drops of Tabasco sauce and grated cheese to taste. This teaser is a taste treat that will perk up any party or buffet. Here's a party dip for those with a taste for something totally different. A shrimp dip topped with bacon chips. In a blender, we have 10 large cooked shrimp. We're now going to add a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. And for tang, 3 shakes of Tabasco sauce. And 1 teaspoon of grated onion or onion juice. Add salt and pepper to your own taste. Now we'll blend these ingredients together and add just enough cream to achieve the right consistency. A potato chip or the shrimp never had it so good. Why don't you try one or all of these chip and dip recipes for your next party?
Chip, everybody in the whole world loves the potato chips, right? Right you are, my lad. Well, then how in the world can human folk make potato chips out of a wee kettle for everybody in the whole wide universe? Oh, where did you get that, blarney? Human folk don't make them by the kettle anymore, but by what themselves call ultra-modern production methods. You don't say no. I do. Come on, boy, and I'll show you. McCushla, where are we? Ah, this is where it all begins. The choicest potatoes in all the world are grown in fields like this. There is nothing but potatoes as far as the eye can see. Aye, and these potatoes are grown exclusively for potato chips. These potatoes have what themselves call special cooking properties, which makes them the finest potatoes for crispy potato chips. But enough time here. Let's go see where the real hocus pocus takes place. 'Tis a grand big place, Chip. Glory be, what's happening over there?
That's the storage area, Dip. When the potatoes are brought in from the fields, they're placed in huge bins like these and stored until they're ready for use. Each one of these bins can hold over 1,000 pounds of potatoes.
Glory be. Can you beat that?
Over here, the potatoes are in their first stage of preparation. Each one is automatically washed and cleaned. This is the first of several washes it will receive.
The saints preserve us. There's a monster loose. Where? Where? There!
No, that's no monster. That's the automatic peeler. It gently removes only the skins, retaining all the good vitamins and minerals that make potato chips a valuable food source.
I see.
And of course, the entire production is supervised by a razor-sharp inspection team.
What do they do?
Well, Dip, they look for and discard any potatoes that don't meet the high standards established by the Potato Chip Institute. That's why only the best potatoes go into making potato chips.
Oh, glory be. Can you beat that?
And over there is the automatic slicer. Revolving blades turning at an incredibly fast speed slice each potato paper thin so that they fry up golden brown.
Look there, Chip. They're being washed again.
That's to take out the excess starch, Dip. That way, they fry crisper, taste better, and are better for you, too.
Look how sparkling clean everything is.
Oh, everything must be sanitary. When you're dealing with good food, there's no such thing as being too careful. Look over there. There are the potato slices going into the stainless steel cookers. Under carefully controlled conditions, each chip is cooked in vats like these until it is at the peak of its flavor and crispness. Only the highest grade vegetable oils are used to ensure even cooking and complete digestibility.
There are those inspectors again.
Yes, except these inspectors are checking for any chip that might have been burned in cooking. Only the best chips are ever packed.
Are you sure that human folk don't use leprechaun magic? No, only modern American know-how and production techniques.
That's right, Chip. Techniques like these, automatic packing and sealing machines, make packaging easy and fast. The potato chips are automatically weighed, packed, and sealed completely by machine. Truly a monument to American know-how. And how about the automatic flavor dispensers, which create the new flavored chips? Regular chips are transformed into tempting flavored treats. Flavors like barbecue, green onion, and
garlic. Me favorite flavor. I know. But you're not the only one who likes them, lad. Everyone likes potato chips. And they do good by any meal or occasion. Look here. Here's a meal fit for an Irish king. Broiled steak with barbecue sauce, potato salad, relish tray and baked beans with strips of bacon, and topped with crushed barbecue chips. And look, plenty of onion-flavored and regular chips on hand as well. But here is one that really fits me fancy. A grand buffet southern fried chicken with potato chip coating. Tuna or cheese casserole with a savory potato chip crust. And look, rock Cornish hens with a garlic chip stuffing. How I love that. And of course, an ample supply of all the potato chip flavors with creamy dips to catch those appetites before the main course. I like those new flavored chips. Aye, but for myself, I still like the plain chip best. There's nothing like the company of an old and trusted friend. 'Twas delightful, Chip, but I didn't know that human folk were so resourceful. Aye, they can do almost anything a leprechaun can do, if they put their minds to it. Chip, 'tis a shame that potato chips taste so good. Everything I like seems to do me ill. What? Oh, you're dreaming, my lad. That may be true of other foods you eat, but not potato chips. You don't say no. Aye, let me show you. A potato chip is pure energy. 93.3% pure energy. That means that potato chips have more food value than over 2,500 vegetable and vegetable products we normally eat. And chips were found to be better than 1,058 foods out of a possible 1,100 tested. And besides being a quick source of energy, potato chips are easily digestible and help in digesting other foods. And potato chips are a natural source of salt for our bodies. And potato chips are the only cooked vegetable eaten without warming or having to open a can.
Aye, potato chips seem to be a good food for everyone.
They are. And because potato chips are real food, many housewives use them in their everyday cooking. Look here.
Here is a scrumptious entree to tantalize any man's appetite. Chip stuffing and spare ribs. We sautéed 1 chopped onion, and now we're going to add 3 cups of cubed bread. To this, we can add 1½ cup of crushed potato chips and 1 cup of finely chopped apple. The apple will give it a little spice. Add ½ cup of chopped celery and we're ready to moisten with a cup of milk. Mix this well, and salt and pepper to suit your own taste. We have cut the spare ribs into 2 matching sections. Spread the stuffing on one section and top with the other. Bake in 350-degree oven for 2 hours. Spare ribs, anyone? Here's a main dish casserole that's quick to fix, but so good. We've already combined sweet potatoes, eggs, and butter. To this, we add 1/3 cup of milk, a teaspoon of salt, and a dash of nutmeg. And, of course, 1 cup of crushed chips. Mix this well and spoon into a greased casserole and bake 25 minutes at 350 degrees. When it reaches your table, step back and watch your hungry gang dig in. Having a cookout? Give charcoal grilled chicken a go. After seasoning and cutting a broiler or frying chicken, we rub each part with lemon juice and dip them in an egg and milk mixture. Then roll each piece in crushed potato chips, pressing the chips firmly into each piece. When the coals are about ready, place the chicken on a folding wire and then onto the grill. Grill slowly for about 25 minutes, turning each piece so that it is fully exposed to the embers. Outdoor appetites won't last long when you serve this treat.
Aye, save a piece for myself.
Aye, there's plenty more of that we'll be seeing, lad. You see, not only are chips good with food, but by themselves they are good food. What do you think of that, lad?
I was thinking, Chip, why are there so many new and different ways of using potato chips?
Aye, there are many reasons for that, Dip. But one reason could be that there's a men's national cooking contest held every year, and hundreds of thousands of human folk from all over the country enter. Come on, let's look in on the finals.
This is the Potato Chip Institute International Men's National Cooking Championship. Every year, men from every part of the United States congregate to try their hand at the culinary arts. However, all the contestants have to use potato chips as one of their basic ingredients. Sound difficult? Not at all. That's one of the reasons that this contest is held year after year. Through the contest, new and ingenious ways of using chips are found. The judges are leading dietitians and newspaper food editors from across the country. If there are any outstanding recipes that deserve special recognition, these women will find them. Many unusual recipes have come from these annual contests. Recipes like this frosted chicken casserole. Potato chips were used to line the bottom of the casserole and as a crunchy topping. The filling for this treat contains cooked chicken, onion, mushroom soup, bean sprouts, cashew nuts, and halved pears. The sugar-coated grapes add just the right amount of color to give this festive dish eye appeal. Many recipes are born from sheer invention, like this. Chip and chicken spaghetti loaf. Its moist and tantalizing flavor is due to a delicate blending of cooked spaghetti, American cheese, chicken, of course, mushroom soup, and 1 cup of crushed potato chips. This loaf deserves the judges' AAA rating. Some of the past prize-winning recipes have taken on an ethnic flavor. Take this teriyaki chef's casserole as an example. This gourmet delight is as exotic as its name. It contains a meatball mixture of ground beef, minced onion, eggs, sugar, soya sauce, seasonings, and crushed potato chips. The sauce itself is a delicate balance of soya sauce, beef bouillon, water chestnuts, and topped with hand-crushed potato chips. It may have an oriental flavor, but it's as American as chips themselves. The variety and scope of the entrees has proven that potato chips are as useful in main dish cooking as they are as a snack. Here's an all-beef dinner that illustrates our point. Adam's Apple Beef Rolls. 2 pounds of prime bottom round steak provide the base for this country dish. Add to that onion, celery, chopped apples, a light touch of sherry, and coarsely crushed potato chips. It's a man-sized meal with a hearty, robust flavor. These are just some of the dishes that won past recognition at the Potato Chip Institute International Men's National Cooking Championship. Perhaps you have a recipe tucked away somewhere that uses potato chips.
How would a mulligan stew be with potato chips? Your mulligan stew could use potato chip magic. It doesn't hurt to try. Aye, 'tis a pleasure to know that the potato chip can be used in so many ways. Aye, lad. But we'd better be after looking for new ways of using potato chips. Right you are. And we hope you'll use potato chips with your next meal. Till next we meet, ta-ta.
For a full-color book of prize-winning recipes starring potato chips, write Recipes, Potato Chip Institute International, Hanna Building, Cleveland, Ohio. Zip code 44115.
Wow. So grotesque, really pointless leprechaun stereotypes. The connection is so tenuous. Like, here's potato chips and it's Irish potato leprechauns. Yeah. So some interesting things about the Potato Chip Institute International. There was a lawsuit, which I'm pasting in a link to, with Potato Chip Institute versus General Mills. And basically, the Potato Chip Institute was claiming that General Mills' product Chippos, which was a reconstituted potato chip made from dehydrated potato chip flakes, or potato flakes that were put together to make a homogeneous thing, not unlike Pringles, that they were not allowed to be called chips. And I'm trying to see who won. It's 1972 that this happened. The decisive issues in this case, therefore, are the factual questions. One, whether the phrase potato chip is, as Judge Urbone found, capable of including both chips made from raw potatoes and chips made from dehydrated potatoes. And if so, whether, as he found, the use of explanatory phrase required by the injunction will suffice and prevent misunderstanding of the product's contents. So this is why Pringles were actually called crisps and not called chips. And I think that's still to this day. That reconstituted potato constructions are not allowed to be called chips. And I think that the Potato Chip Institute morphed into the Snack Food Association, which is a lobbying group. Very similar to what's happening with the dairy lobbying group that was basically saying that almond milk shouldn't be called milk because it's not milk. And I think there was a ruling about that recently, about that it was okay to use the word milk for things that were not expressed from a mammary gland. So these things still kind of come up. These things about marketing, about consumer perception, and I think Lucky the Leprechaun is still around. And I think that he has a lot more marshmallows in his Lucky Charms cereal nowadays. And they're all special and weird. And wonderful ways to deliver sugar in the morning to children. So I'm going to call it today because, it's been a long day. But I hope you got enough of your Irish films that have even the remotest relationship to Ireland. If you're of Irish heritage, I hope that you have a good day. I don't know if you recognize this as a day to celebrate Irish heritage, but certainly Irish immigrants have contributed a lot to the United States. They provide a lot of labor and food and culture. And if that's what we're celebrating today, let's celebrate it. I would not go to a bar tonight. No way. It's like amateur hour. But thanks again for tuning in. If you like what you saw, you could do a couple of things. One, you can just say like, hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, anything on social media, any way to say like, yes, we like this. You can also donate money to us by hitting the super thanks button, or by hitting going to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks, and those are places that you can donate coffee to us, or other things that we spend on things like this. Stop, do not rewind after screening, leave end showing. Things like that. Maybe that'll be good on a tote bag or a t-shirt. What do you think? I don't know. This has got some stuff written on the back of it, but I don't know. What do you think? Would you buy a t-shirt that has stop, do not rewind? I don't know. Maybe not. Anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in. We've been doing this 3 years, and we might have done it without you, but the fact that you guys have been there and watching means a great deal. Thanks for lending me your eyeballs and your attention spans for an hour or so every weekday. That means a great deal. It changed what we do at AV Geeks in a positive way, I think, and it allowed us to show a bunch more stuff. Like right now, we have over 3,800 films that we've watched, and a lot of them were brand new things that I have not seen before. So thank you for your attention, because that keeps us going. So everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Everybody take care. Love you guys.